We have sad news, breaking news, a name that we've heard for years and years. We've just received word that Salt Lake County Councilman Sam Granato has died after an extended illness. We're seeing the first tributes are trickling in. A statement from Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski, and joining us live on the KSL Newsline, our own Doug Wright, who knows him well. Doug, thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's a sad time, though.
Tell us your recollections about Sam Granato over the years.
He is just such first of all, a wonderful person, somebody who was fully engaged in the community. His family originally, of course, came from Italy, but he was born and raised in Utah. And very recently, I talked with Sam on the air about his relationship with President Thomas S. Monson. They had a very close friendship that Sam just absolutely cherished. Anytime you went into Sam's office, there were all these pictures in there of the family, pictures of Sam in his various roles, pictures with his dad, Frank Granato, who started their food import business. And Sam has been engaged in that business pretty much his entire life. But there were tons of pictures of him and President Thomas S. Monson. Again, that was a friendship that Sam absolutely cherished. But his public service is something that I will always appreciate, and he's willing to take on the tough jobs. For example, his time at the DABC. Anybody who is working in the state of Utah in alcoholic beverages and trying to walk that very fine line, it took somebody of Sam's good sense of humor, his grace, his reasonableness, and his familiarity with Utah and our communities and culture for him to function so well in that. And, of course, his time in public service as an elected official in the Salt Lake County Council. And many people will remember that he ran for the Senate seat that was opened because Bob Bennett was not renominated by the Republican Party in 2010. And so Sam ended up running against Mike Lee in an open seat contest, and just a fine and decent, pleasant man that you just love to be around and just love to sit down and talk. When he visited me in our home at a very difficult time in our lives, he just couldn't have been kinder and more empathetic. I will miss Sam, and our community, Utah, will miss Sam greatly.
We've seen kind words streaming in just over the past few minutes since the announcement came out. But as I looked through the list of civic and public roles he's held, Governor's Office of Economic Development, Environmental Quality Advisory Board, Hogle Zoo Advisory Board, Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling, Unified Fire Authority Board, this was a man who was part of the fiber of the community. Absolutely.
IHC should be on that list somewhere. And when you think of Sam's engagement in our community and in the fabric of our society, our culture, our overall essence in Utah, it's hard to look around and not see Sam's signature and his willingness to help. And when it comes to his deli, when it comes to the food import business, many people have such fond memories. And if at one of his locations you were ever invited to have lunch in what he called the Izzy Room, that was named after Izzy Wagner, who was another very, very prominent business person in the state of Utah, Rose Wagner Theater and the Wagner Center, Jewish Community Center. I mean, you name it. It was always a privilege.
Doug, I'm glad.
Sam.
Go ahead, please.
It was always a privilege to be with Sam in his place of business. And as I mentioned, if anybody had ever been invited into the Izzy Room, that was quite an honor.
Doug, I was going to say it's always a privilege to have you on our show. Thank you so much.